Diaspora manyarare kuwe. Zimbabwe manyarare kuwe. Manyarare kuwe kamurenga chipinda. Manyarare kuwe kamurenga chipinda. Zimbabwe manyarare kuwe. Manyarare manyarare kuwe. Uwayo manyarare kuwe. Utoko manyarare kuwe. Kariba manyarare kuwe. Ubanda manyarare kuwe. Iyapinge manyarare kuwe. Karwani manyarare kuwe.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, our viewers and listeners. Today we are broadcasting live a Twitter space led by MDC Alliance Europe. And they're hosting Comrade Bondo. They want to ask an issue about diaspora penetration. So Comrade Bondo is going to give us a lot of information. So our viewers and listeners, for those who can, it is great for you to join through the Twitter handle, which is given there. Just click and join and give your contribution direct. But if for those who cannot join the Twitter space, come here and I will share with you, and you can always make your comments here, ask the questions to Comrade Bondo. That will help, and we are going to give them the questions, and your questions are going to be answered today. So 7 o'clock we are starting, and whenever you can, wherever you are, please join direct on Twitter if you can, but if you can't, yes, here we are going to broadcast for you.
Bechidigi manyarare. Bazikana manyarare. Banamana manyarare. Banamai manyarare. Banamana manyarare.
Spaces with our Secretary for Rural Mobilization. Just
now we cross over to the live.
Moment we are connecting to him. Thank you.
Now we cross over. Our viewers and listeners, we are crossing over to the live broadcast. Yes, any minute now, we are crossing over. Any minute, just waiting for a connection, then we are good to go. Just a connection hiccup there. We'll continue with music till we are well connected.
Yes, please. How are you? I'm fine.
So I think now we can start our program. Our co-host failed to join, so I will ask the questions on her behalf because she couldn't join us. She was supposed to be joining. So we want to welcome you all to these Twitter Spaces, which were initiated by the MDC Alliance Europe External Assembly, so that the people can be able to talk to their leaders. From time to time, we expect to run these Twitter Spaces every Saturday from now until the elections in 2023, and each Saturday we'll be inviting one national leader to talk to the people and to join the conversation. So our first guest is the Secretary for Rural Mobilization, Comrade Leader Bondo, or Honourable Happimore chidziva. We posted his profile on our Twitter handle in the morning so that we could save time. So we will go straight into the program. As we start, Honourable, do you have anything that you would like to say about yourself before we get into the questions about rural mobilization?
Nothing much. Much of who I am has been said by the profile that you have posted. I think for the sake of time, anyone who have gone through that profile, that is me. That is Leader Comrade Happimore chidziva.
Okay, thank you, Leader. So we'll go directly into the questions. We managed to gather a number of questions from our followers on various platforms. So the first question we would like you to ask, we combined most of the questions. So the first question is, Honourable chidziva, could you kindly give us a brief background about your department or ministry, its formation, roles and responsibilities?
Thank you so much. Revolutionary greetings, everyone. The Department of Rural Mobilization Penetration Strategies. I can say the brief background is that the rural registered voting population constitutes 57.2% of the total number of registered voters throughout Zimbabwe. This stands the rural vote is the game changer in the presidential vote, and moreover, it determines with regards to the extent to which any party can win the majority of seats in parliament. So the movement for democratic change find it necessary to create this department so that we will be able to penetrate the rural areas, while the other departments focus on the urban side. The rural areas, again, we have about 140 rural constituencies. So you could easily see that that is where there is more work, that is where there is more people, that is where there is more victory, opportunity to possibility of a victory we are able to penetrate rural areas. So this is just about the background of this department.
Okay, thank you so much. The question number two is, how far have you gone as a department in terms of winning the raw vote? And if you have any tangible evidence to support that, we will be very happy. So you can share this with our listeners. Do you have anything that you have done so far so that you can win the raw vote?
Yes. We have deepened our strength in the rural areas. We have created networks in different communities. Actually, wherever we have gone in the rural areas, we have been received very well, even with the traditional leaders, community leaders, various rural networks. Only what we have done as for now is evidence. I think we have not yet gone into any election so that I can produce the V11 that these are the results. But I promise the listeners that by this department, using it, working together, we will actually be able to have good results. And from the areas that we have gone so far, there is good feedback. We have been in Mondoro, we have been in Mashonaland Central, we have been in Mashonaland East, we have been having programs in different other areas, Manikaland, Mashingo, etc. But there are so much there's good positive feedback from all these areas.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll go to the third question. So the third question was asking, Honorable, this is one of the critical departments in the MDC Alliance if the party is ever going to penetrate the rural constituencies, which are perceived to be ZANU-PFC strongholds. Maybe without giving too much details, Honorable, has the response from the rural folk been positive or negative? Are the rural folk ready for change?
Actually, from what I've seen is that in the rural side of Zimbabwe, so many people, most of them, they don't want ZANU-PF. And actually, they don't vote. If they've been voting, they don't vote ZANU-PF because they like ZANU-PF. It was just intimidation and violence. But most of the people, they don't want ZANU-PF. So if you go to the people there, there's so much positive feedback from them that no, we want to vote for change. But are you able to protect us? We want to vote for change. Are you going to protect the vote? You want to vote for change. So the people from start, they will just tell you that we want to vote for change. And there's so much good response in the rural areas.
Okay, thank you for that answer. I would like to recognize also the presence of our leadership, like SG Wende is here. We also have our beloved journalist Mukoma Hopewell, our deputy spokes, Mr. Sachwayo, and others. So if any of those people are available to make the comments when you open the conversation, that would be most welcome. We go to question number 4. I'm sure you've noticed a lot of people, not only local Zimbabweans, but even those in the diaspora, like those represented by MDC Alliance Europe, are ready to support the people's struggle for a truly independent Zimbabwe. How can they participate, and who do they contact, particularly those living in the diaspora? How can they support in terms of donations, funding? Can you kindly take us through the details? This question came from one citizen in South Wales who wanted to understand specifically how the process goes when we are donating and funding the party.
Hello?
Yes, you can go ahead, leader.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can go ahead.
I was sorry, I lost you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me, Honorable?
Yes, I can hear you now. So I'm going straight to answer the question number 4.
Yes.
And we have an issue that people need to be transported to register to vote. A significant number of our people, particularly the youth, do not have IDs, which they need for voter registration. The challenge is they coordinate. As a department, we can coordinate these people, but we need financial.
Okay, it seems like we are having a problem.
Sorry, we have also circulated a form where we are asking
I think our guest is having some
areas. It will also help us to know who is registered and who is unregistered, and then come up with a strategy.
It looks like we've lost our guest, like we can't hear him. So whilst we are waiting for our guest to come back, we'll take the people who have requested and give them a chance to speak a bit. Okay. Honorable, can you hear us now? Can everyone else mute their mic? Honorable, can you hear us now? Okay. Can we go to David Siamponto? Can you make your contribution?
Thank you very much. I just wanted to step in just to add on what is being done with guys in the diaspora currently. So we have been trying to twin ourselves with our constituencies back home. And we have some of the constituencies that we have twinned with, like Chiundura. We are working also in Bopane. We're working also in North. So basically, as the Honorable is coming in, that's what I just wanted to point out that yes, there are some activities in as far as rural penetration is concerned that we have embarked as a party. I am speaking on behalf of North America province. Those are some of the activities that we have been doing. And I heard you posted a question like, how can the diaspora help and to whom can they contact? So we have a twinning program where people in various branches, they are working with constituencies back home. So thank you.
Can we hear from We Have a Plan?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. First time I've been afforded the chance to speak. My actual name is Obet Musa. I'm an MDC Alliance fully subscribed member, and I live in Derby, UK. The problem with me is that I'm not that person that is too much involved in politics, but I bought into the idea during the 2018 elections with the hope that we would be able to free ourselves, and I got hooked. So my point in terms of contribution from diaspora is, ever since I paid my subscriptions, I put my contact details, I've not had any contact from whoever is responsible for coordinating members. And my wish would be if there is a database of us in the diaspora that can be communicated to directly, that would help in terms of galvanizing our efforts in terms of raising funds. I know there is a portal on the website where I can go and donate, but without these reminders, sometimes it slips out of your mind because we're very busy people. So my little contribution is, can we have a kind of a database, especially for those of us in the UK. It's a very small country geographically. We could have one single database of us all, that we can have a mail, kind of a mail server that we are all connected to in terms of receiving mails, updates, how much does the party need, and we could add to the financial kind of stability of the party in terms of small donations, especially. If I can be urged every now and then, please donate a small amount, please donate this amount, that would keep it in the back of my mind that I need to do something, but there is no such coordination. Even where I live in Derby, I don't even know where the branch offices are. I don't even know who is the leader, whether we belong to Nottingham or Leicester. So I think such a database, especially when we register as members, would help us in terms of coordinating each other, encouraging each other to provide finances for the party. I put my, there was a thread on Twitter one day, I think that was MDC EU, and they were talking about sponsoring polling agents. And I put a comment there to say, I will sponsor the whole polling station, all the agents, I will sponsor that. And to my surprise, I've not had any contact, because they were we actually tagged big people like our treasurer back home, secretary general. Such communications would be helpful if somebody said, yeah, I saw this comment, how do you wish to go about it? This is how you can do. But that gets lost, because in that thick kind of heat of the moment, somebody says, I will do this, but you then need to capture those so that you can then come back to me and say, look, on such a day you said you would sponsor polling agents. This is how we go about it. Can you put your finances here? But if it gets lost in the midst of all the tweets that circle, then it will probably get lost. And if I don't know where to go, then that goodwill is lost. So that's my little point. Let's have a database of those of us in the diaspora, like a national UK database of all sympathizers of the movement, and then we can actually communicate between us. This is how much we need. This is what we need to do. But as it is, people are fragmented. Maybe Leicester has their branch, Burton has their branch, Derby has a branch, and we are stronger when we are one thing, when we're one unit. Then we can actually coordinate each other. And I think for now that will be my contribution. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I will just give a word to our SG. Then we'll go back to our speaker. Our speaker is back now. SG Wende, can you hear us?
Yes, I hope you can hear me also. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Can you go ahead?
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to everyone who is here. I'm sure that our speaker is now back. I had indicated that I could chip in to assist since he was having problems with connection. But I see that he's now back. But before we hand over to him, I would want just to make a small contribution. We would like to first of all appreciate the kind of assistance that we have received so far from the diaspora regarding the support to our rural strategy and penetration department, as elaborated by Comrade Vondo earlier on. Where this is a very important program that we are carrying on, because as you are aware, like what he said, more than 2/3 of the Zimbabwean voting population resides in rural areas. And we have, I think, about 180,000 villages in Zimbabwe. And the ZANU-PF's system is organized around cells that are located in the villages that are controlled by village heads. So you can see the kind of task that is there. we need to work. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But I've had the privilege of accompanying the Secretary for Rural Strategy and other departments when we visited the various rural areas. We were well received. I think in most of the areas that we went, managed to speak to traditional leaders, opinion leaders, and a lot of people in the rural areas. And all that we got is that we need to increase our presence. We need to capacitate our branches that are in the rural areas so that there is increased visibility in the rural areas. And this is the area that we are working on together with our organizing department to make sure that the party is very visible.
Thank you, SG. Thank you, SG. Now we...
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so coming to the kind of assistance that we think the diaspora and the role that the diaspora can play. I think you have seen that this coming election, our approach is that we must place the most of the work in the community and in the citizens, because the MDC as a political party needs assistance from everybody. The task is huge. The resources that are needed are huge. And the ideas that are needed to dislodge a military-backed regime like the one that we have in Zimbabwe requires the participation of everyone. That's why we are now talking about citizens, about candidates that are coming from citizens. And the citizens have a greater role to play in 2023. We need them to assist us in voter registration. So what we have done with for the rural, for the diaspora, is that we are launching in the coming few days a Adopt Your Polling Station program. So under this program, we were busy mapping up all the polling stations that we have, over 10,000 polling stations that we have in Zimbabwe, and each one having a maximum of 1,000 voters. So what we are doing is that at every polling station, the citizens must have a polling station support group that whose sole purpose, and that should include people that are in Zimbabwe and people that are in diaspora. So for instance, if you're in South Africa and you come from Mondoro, where I come from myself, and you vote at Binda polling station, for example, you can choose to want to be part of that polling station support group, because that's the area that you come from and you are very familiar with that area, and it's easy for you to influence people that participate in the voting process in that area. So we will be encouraging everyone to locate a polling station that they want to participate. And we have already finalized on the technical aspect of people that are going to be providing technical assistance to each and every polling station support group. So that's the platform that we think the diaspora community can play. So the main task for the support group, for example, is that at every polling station, there are basic needs that we will need. We have identified that the last time our biggest problem was the support around the polling station agents, to make sure that we identify correct agencies. Because to expect the MDC to deploy 44,000 agents from a central point, from the harvest house or from the head office
Diaspora manyarare kui. Zimbabwe manyarare kui. Manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Zimbabwe manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Uwayo manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Utoko manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Kariba manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Ubanda manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Ipinge manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Kalani manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Yura manyarare kui. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Birwa zongo pera mai. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Pondwa tongo nyarara mai. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Pondwa tongo nyarara mai. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Kanore pasongo pera mai. Cheka mrenga chipinda. Zimbabwe manyarare.
Our viewers and listeners, this is the conversation we are having is we are broadcasting live on Zim Eye and Change Radio. People discussing on the ways, the challenges they have been seeing in rural outreach or rural mobilization program. Tangatina Comrade Happimore Chidziva leader Bondo. We just lost connection to our Twitter handle. Our viewers and listeners, as soon as we are back, we are going to come back to you. Thank you very much for joining us We appreciate you, and I want to thank you all for the contributions you were making. I'll just do a quick run because I respect your comments, because your input is valued, and the input you are putting here, it is that will help the country to win elections, because that's what we want, and that's why we are having these conversations, because toda kubatsirana senyika kuti pango uya pfungwa dzenyu dzese, because toda kuti chinge chiri chinhu chevanhu, for the people, by the people. So if they are your ideas which they are going to take into consideration vachigadzirisa pavari kukanganisa sezvamuri kutaura. Hanzi Nasivanda Cleopas, to put an end to all political motivated social conflicts, war, corruption, fraud, and all sorts of machinery everywhere in this world. Please Google up, buy, or just read this book as a matter of necessity. This book is not profit, and he gave the democracy, political government, political representative is from Muswati. Thank you very much for that advice. Our viewers and listeners are going to buy that book. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for your contributions. Rikanzina Masiza, provide free Wi-Fi if possible. Young people in rural areas do have smartphones. If we can at least try to provide free Wi-Fi, social media is news provider. Every citizen needs to access information. We need really to be radical in giving correct information to all our voters. We need to encourage everyone to shape the future of our one beautiful country, Zimbabwe. Thank you very much. Well done. This is what we really need, if that is so possible. So we need you to help with funds so that we can manage this. Whatever you can contribute, be it $1, 50 cents, whatnot, I know it will go a long way for the people of Zimbabwe. Natavonga Mufara Mkati, I think as a party, we need to rekindle the flame of support that we initially had. Like now, we have support, but a fraction of our supporters are losing hope owing to the fact that the elections has been rigged all along. We must improve our on jealously guarding our votes and assuring the voters that the same will not happen in 2023. Tavonga, that's a very valid point. We really need to guard against our votes. Thank you very much, our viewers and listeners. You were with me here live on Facebook, SimI and Change Radio. Your usual, I'm sure most of you know me when we are having gender issues. You were with me, Simo Bimo Blessing Nyambara. Thank you very much. I was hosting on behalf of MDC Alliance Europe. Thank you. And as Change Radio, we say to the people of Zimbabwe, don't forget to register to vote. It is your right to vote, and own it. This is the time to own. Yes. I'm just being informed that the Twitter space is back, so we need to connect again online. Just a moment, then I come live with you again. Please stay tuned, our viewers and listeners.
Manyara
Polling station based system. Okay, what I was saying was it's important. I was happy to hear the SG talking about the number of villages that we have in Zimbabwe. And his desire to make use of the villages to contribute to the elections in 2023. Also, I was of the view that we have also have statistics of the polling stations that we have in Zimbabwe, so that we can identify the diaspora that can contribute towards each and every polling station. Elections in 2023, they are scientific, number one, but number two, also they need us to start to work on the branches now. So if we have the diaspora that can contribute towards getting the accurate statistics of the number of people who are registered at a certain polling station in rural Zimbabwe, and those people must also contribute towards the gathering of information of how many youth are registered and how many of the people there are actually going to vote for MDC Alliance. It means once we go into an election, we actually know that those people who came open are these who are going to vote for us, and we will subtract them from the total number of people who vote at that polling station from the ZEC registration file. It means that as we go into the election, we would have clear information or clear data that we have got a certain number of votes. So I think the work needs to be started now to work on the polling station based system, where we get the statistics, where we work on the people who are at around that polling station in terms of mobilization, in terms of voter education, in terms of other activities that can actually motivate them. So that was my contribution. I'm happy with the statistics that we heard about the villages. I think it's also quite interesting and important that we start also to mobilize on police station based. I know I was in Mtoko last week. I know that the people there, they need a polling station based program that will strengthen them, that will educate them, that will give them a clear picture of the policies or of the manifesto that we are going to usher into 2023. So that's my contribution. I hope it will contribute a little bit.
Host, excuse me, sorry. Can you drop me as a speaker? I've already asked, and allow the guest to actually become a speaker. I can see the guest is now a leader.
Yes, we are trying to request our guest to come back, but he is having difficulties, but we are trying our best to have him back to speak. We have also tried to bring the mayor, but it keeps saying connecting. So for now, could I please ask Mkoma Wopo, could you request to speak, or can I add you to come and become a speaker and share your thoughts as well? Whilst we are waiting, Mundau, could you please go ahead?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the platform to speak. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. Okay. No, for me, I just want to speak to talk more about the collection of funds. I'm in the UK, and I can give you a brief history to say I've been in Zioja for faith for almost 23 years. That's how long I've been around the UK. I wanted to master the way they collect funds. for their purposes. And I've seen it working, and I think I want also to agree with one of the speakers who said he's from South Wales. If with people who are to contribute money, if you don't follow them up, people will find other things to do with their money. So if you want to collect money from UK, I think you need to have a database. That's one thing. And as well, there is a proposal that was made. I don't know, there is one person under the MDC Alliance EU. He actually suggested that if we can have, I can't remember the number of people he said, who can pay about $200 towards the cause. For me, when I saw that bracket, it's a bracket that is workable, especially for us in the diaspora in the UK, to say the least. $200, if you maybe spread it for, let's say, 2 to 3 months, to say, or even 4 months, to say it's $50 per month for 4 months until you finish your $200. And if we can find, let's say, for interest sake, let's say 2,000 people. I don't know if you say 2,000 by 200. Already, it's a very big amount that can come from a few people, and then anything else that comes from other people. And we can also open a window where those who have got £1, those who have got £5, who want to contribute. So, or if we break it down that way, but also having people who have got larger amounts to actually, to contribute, to move the amount to a nearer figure that we want, it will be helpful. So for me, I think we need to press on that, whereby we find the 2,000 people. And the other thing as well, on the mobilization, I was talking with the SG and I was saying to him, here in the UK, we go to abattoirs. We usually buy our meat in abattoirs. For those who are in the UK, know. There is Zimbabweans gathering there. We need to be found. We need to be found in those places, talking to people. And even churches, after churches, nowhere there's Zimbabwean churches in the UK. After church, you can just stand and find a few people to have a conversation with. And these are the people, some of them, to tell you the truth, I've been in the UK for 27 years. I'm tired and I really want to go home. And the only thing that is stopping me from going home is ZANU-PF. And so, what is $200 to me for me to go back home with my family? You see, so it's all these things that I'm thinking that these are the strategies that we need to use. Especially, I can only speak for UK because that's the place I've been for a long time, and I know the places to go. And this is one thing that I am, talking to the leadership to implement. Weekends, I can go, just attend church anywhere, any Zimbabwean church, and after church, I can talk to people, and then if there's flyers, give flyers. And give the reason. Obviously, I will be clashing with ZANU-PF people because there is ZANU-PF people as well in this country. Yeah, so I think, to me, this is my contribution, and I think we need to try to make it a bit aggressive, not aggressive in the sense of demanding, but in the aggressive in terms of visibility. We need to be seen, we need to be heard, we need to present things to the people, the reason for this fundraising. And that's my contribution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. SG Wende, do you have any contribution? Our guest leader Bondo is failing to join. Can you come in and say something?
Okay, no, thank you very much. I had also lost network. I just joined in now. I don't know whether there are specific questions that we needs to be answered, but just safe to say that before I was cut, I think that the platform that we are creating for the diaspora, I think it's a very important platform. Through that platform, we are going to allow the support groups, one, to have bank accounts that they will open themselves. They raise their money, deposit them, because most of the money that they will be raising, we don't need it now. It's money that is going to be used during the election. For instance, the money that they will use to support the agents that are going to be deployed at that particular polling station, the deployment fees, the fuel, and all those things. So we are allowing those support groups for people to manage the funds, the fundraising themselves, and also mobilization, because the current voter registration mobilization, it needs the involvement for everyone. I've seen many people asking about where is the MDC, where is President Chamisa, and so forth. If you are still asking about the presence of the MDC in such a mammoth task, then we have not started. The task is huge. We need to register at least 6 million people. People listen more to someone that is, for instance, phoning from the diaspora, calling their families back home to say, guys, let's go and register, than to a politician like me who is known naturally to be looking for power. It's better when it's coming from peers, it's coming from relatives, it's coming from people that support the economic activities that happen in various villages. So that's why we have started also. I think you have seen that campaign that we are saying that if you are each one, at least those ones who wants to assist, those who are active, let's identify 12 people only. So if you're an individual, what you need to do is identify your 12 people. That's your contribution to the struggle. You identify 12 people, particularly those that are in the village where you are coming from. If you are coming from Mondoro, I always use Mondoro because I'm proud of Mondoro. That's where I come from. If you are in Mondoro, Kumusha, we have people that are there, and most of them would not, maybe some have turned just 18, some are still 17. So my role as Wende in the diaspora, if I'm in the diaspora, is just to make sure I could at my own village. I call them regularly when I'm sending them money. Then I also have a list. We have developed a form which the Secretary for Rural Strategy was talking about. You just list your relatives. We can help you to check whether they are on the voters roll and come back to you with feedback that so and so is on the voters roll, so and so is not on the voters roll. So you identify your 12 people. Those who are not on the voters roll, you help them to be on the voters roll. And your job make sure between now and the election, if all your 12 people have registered, and make sure that they are understanding the message for change. You preach to them and make sure that on the actual date of voting, you make sure that you deliver your 12 votes. That's all. That's what we need. So is that those 12 votes? It's also your participation in your polling station affairs. So those are the contributions that we are expecting. And how many Zimbabweans do we have in the diaspora? Millions. So if everyone takes part in this exercise, then we are home and dry. But the MDC alone, I need to emphasize this thing. We do not have the capacity, but we are the leader in the community. We want to work with you. We want to assist yourself in terms of mobilizing, but we want you to assist us so that we register as many people as possible. So that's all that I can say for now. But if there are specific questions that people want to ask, they can ask. I see leader Vondo is also now there. Some leaders are also there. We can then assist each other. But what we want from this platform, we don't want money. I've always said this to people. It's better for someone to identify an activity to support, then monitor it. You know, for instance, if I want to send people to Uzumba tomorrow to check what the Chinese are doing, they are removing people from their ancestral land. What I want is for you to say, like when we started the MDC, people would come in and say, look, I've got an old Mazda 323 Kumbakwangu, I'm in UK. Please go and see so and so and use that car for struggle. The election or someone will say, I have a service station, go and get fuel. Fuel, you are going to Murewa, you get fuel, people go and do party program. Someone can say, I want to print flyers for voter registration. Because you see, what ZANU-PF does, whenever we try to raise money, we also don't want that kind of thing. We just want to work, you know. So when you are supporting, bear in mind that any kind of support is needed. But we also want you to be involved. Once you sponsor an activity, follow it up, to make sure that the activity is carried on and so forth. So I'll be here to with the other leaders. I see Mayor is there. I see Comrade Bondo is there. I see Comrade Clifford and other leaders that I'm not seeing. So we can all come in and help. But we want you guys to help us with ideas, first and foremost, on how your own experiences, on what is effective, on where the gaps are, what we need to do more, or what we are not doing correctly. Because we don't know everything. We are just leaders, but we rely on your assistance for us to make sure that we bring change in 2023. So thank you very much.
Yes. SG, whilst you are still there was a question like, are there any specific challenges that you are facing in the rural areas that you think this can be addressed by the people, especially those in the diaspora? Are there any specific challenges? You have mentioned the issue of Zumba and the Chinese. We hope something will be done soon in that regard. So are there any other specific challenges that you have identified that the people who are here, who are listening, can actually help?
Okay, thank you very much. The biggest help that you can give is calling your families back home, impressing upon them to go and register, and scientifically monitoring them. If you are having your 12 votes, it deliver 12 votes, ndini ningi ngana hama dzangu dzapinda pa voter so hama dzangu dzavotera for change. That's the biggest thing that we need. And obviously we would need support, because a political party as big as MDC regularly needs assistance. But ZANU PF strategy is to make sure that MDC is starved of financial resources. They've taken our funds that we are entitled in terms of the Political Finance Act, and they always follow people that help us. If someone help us in Zimbabwe is a businessman, they always follow them, harass them until nobody helps us. So they want us to receive no support at all from anyone, because they know that without resources, it will be difficult for us to mobilize the number of people that we want. And I've seen it also on social media. When someone posts that, look, the MDC is engaging in fundraising, can you help us to fundraise to replace, for example, the lost grant? The first people to comment there are the trolls from ZANU-PF. Where is that money? Then they succeed in casting doubt in the minds of those people that want to help. Because to go to the rural areas, to deploy teams, it's a massive exercise. You need resources in kind, in cash, and whatsoever, and also ideas. So I would say first, it's the Sunga one, Sunga dozen concept. Help us by mobilizing your relatives. Then secondly, help us by going into your own polling station support groups. Because when you are in there in the polling station support group, munono mepa your 1,000 people to say, because by law, every polling station must have 1,000 voters. So mapinda moya, one is in Germany, one is in South Africa, one is in Canada, and you also have people, professionals that are in Zimbabwe, lawyers, and all those things. Those people that ordinarily don't participate in MDC affairs, but we are taking it out to the citizens. So you join in that support group. So Murimu support group, we then link you with our branches. More on what are the needs at that polling station. If the register is 300 people registered in that particular polling station, and your target is to double that effort, then you speak with the foot soldiers that are on the ground, who are our branches, to say, at this polling station, we are giving ourselves a target. The party, what we have done in the party is that for every polling station, we have given them targets to say, this polling station, we want you to register so much people, because we see there's a gap. We need the growth in this area. So go and look for these voters. But you yourself as the support group can also complement that and ensure that you support as citizens and that voter registration take place. Then you can also imagine if every support group can print flyers for their own areas, for their 1,000 voters. It makes the work easier because flyers for $1,000, maybe you need $30, $40 to print 1,000 flyers. Then you need posters. For instance, during an election, let's say for a polling station, you need maybe 100 posters. How much is that? It's small figures. And it's small because you are doing it at a polling station. How much does it cost to feed the 4 polling agents that are required at a polling station? Maybe $50. So these are small amounts that you can generate at your polling station support group. But you can also then go further and say, we want our polling station to be the best polling station in Zimbabwe in 2023. So we have done everything. We have provided one smartphone that they need. We have provided everything that they need. And now we are going to print t-shirts, 200 t-shirts for our foot soldiers that are going door to door recruiting people. More than 200 t-shirts, you need just $1,000. You can mobilize between now and the next election. So you see how easy it is. Instead of expecting the party to print 2 million t-shirts, we are printing them at our own polling station, taking charge of our polling stations, ensuring that our polling station provides the required figure to vote for change in 2023. So it makes the work easier. And the Pama polling station, bye-bye. Additionally, my CIO, because the biggest problem that we have is that when you recruit 44,000, obviously the CIO is very active. They will plant their own people. But in Mimpa polling station, you are working from now as citizens together with our branches. You identify the people that you know per polling station pay the hand who is clear. Because it's a smaller community. So that's the role of the support group. It will help us to weed out infiltration, which is the biggest challenge that we have. Imagine if you are going to deploy a CIO on behalf of the MDC and is monitoring an election. It means that they can swap the votes. I don't go phone about where I box, more swap, so this concept, if we popularize it, if we promote it, it will solve a lot of our problems that we are currently facing. So we'll be launching it, like I said, in the next few days, and we hope that going forward, that is a serious politicians. The task that we have is so huge. This opportunity that we have in 2023, we can't afford to miss it. We have been in this struggle for too long. Some of us have been in MDC since 1999. We feel that at all costs, 2023, we must make sure that we provide a government that is not ZANU-PF. So this is our opportunity. So that's all that I have to say at this juncture. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, SG. Can we have the Patricia Chinyoka to say something? And maybe you can comment something about the UK and the issues that were raised by your comrades there.
Thank you so much and for this opportunity to speak. Very delighted to be on this platform. So for those that don't know me, I'm Patricia Chinyoka, the UK and Ireland. And thank you so much to the comments that we've had. And that's exactly why I asked to speak, was to respond to the concerns that were raised about the fact that there doesn't seem to be a coordination, particularly for those individuals that joined the party in the last year. So firstly, COVID-19 has had a real impact, and we've not been able to meet in person since last March. And I think there's still issues of people's safety. So we'll see how that pans out going into the future. But I also wanted to add that we are very visible on social media. We do have events that we run on social media. And for those that are within the UK, please follow me, and then I can connect you to your nearest branches. So I think someone was asking if there was a branch in Derby or in Leicester. So yes, there are branches that are dotted around the whole country, including in Ireland. So would be really, really pleased and happy to make those connections. I also wanted to touch on the point of the database. So we are aware of all of those individuals that have signed up as members, But due to the GDPR, for those who are in the UK, you'll be very familiar that we need to be careful as to how we contact people that haven't given us permission to do that. So we are trying to find a way that we can connect with all of those non-members, so we can link you, as I said, to your nearest branch. The idea of the database is brilliant, but then again, we have to follow those GDPR regulations just to make sure that we are keeping in with the legal requirements. So thanks so much for this opportunity. Please follow me, and we can connect with one another. Thank you so much.
Give him our speaker is back. Will give him the platform immediately. Honourable Chidziva, go ahead. Honourable Chidziva, can you hear me? Okay, it seems like Honourable Chidziva. Okay.
Yes, how are you?
Yes, fine. We have been struggling to have you, so you can go ahead now and answer the other questions.
Thank you. No, I'm a bit back now, but I think there was someone tampering with my network, or I don't know what was happening.
Okay, perfect. So I will read the other questions. I will read all of them. Then you will just answer as much as you can. So the other question was about intimidation. That we know that there is a lot of intimidation that goes on in the rural areas. Are our rural members safe? If not, what do you suggest we do as stakeholders in the struggle to protect our rural areas? So the issue of intimidation. Then the other question is about it has already been answered by the SG. So let's go to the question on intimidation. Then we can allow the other members to participate.
Thank you so much. On the issue of intimidation, I think the best safety measure is numbers. Actually, there is a greater protection in numbers. What we need to do is to have the branches in all the rural areas that are big enough to give comfort to our people. We need to recruit as many youth as possible, as they are the ones targeted by ZANU-PF to unleash violence on parents and the elderly. We have a strategy on how to attract youth. One of the strategies is through sport. We need soccer balls and net balls. After helping them to get IDs and registering to vote, we need to give them activities, and the diaspora can assist them. We'll be launching a Send Ball campaign soon. Please, we need your support. Actually, the other area around the issue of intimidation is this case whereby we know that everyone in the diaspora, or wherever you are in the urban area, you have a rural home that you are coming from. It is so difficult for people to attack chidziva in the village where I come from. It is so difficult for them to target me. What we just have to do is to influence our people in the community areas, our schoolmates, our communities, our friends, our relatives. Right now, the diaspora community, everyone, every family in Zimbabwe have someone in the diaspora. So it is so easy for us to use the diaspora influence to deal with all those other issues that we have been facing. For example, in my rural area in Sanyat, I used to have a person who was terrorizing people. But because I grew up in Sanyat and I know about that person, I just took my phone and called this guy and said, hey, why are you doing this 1, 2, 3, 4 things to the people? Why are you intimidating people? Why are you doing 1, 2? So some of the people that send people to do those intimidation tractors, they don't even know each other, but they just do it because they've been told by someone in Harare or somewhere. But now you have an influential person in diaspora. We have an influential person in the urban area that can just communicate one sentence to someone in the rural area, and you understand that what I'm doing is not okay. Even to visit, even to make a call to the chiefs, to make a call to the youth in the communities, they will actually accept that someone whom I have been with for some time have called me and told me that what I am doing is wrong.
Okay, thank you, Honorable. You talked about these soccer balls and netball balls. If someone here who is listening wants to donate a ball to their polling station or just to any rural area, how do they go about it?
It's so it's so easy. We can donate these balls through any what our plan is like we want to create what we call community support groups. Those community support groups, like we have 63 community support groups for Zaka, for you know those rural district centers in the rural areas, the RDCs, the rural district councils. We have 63. We want to create those support groups in each and every district admin. So like we have one in Zaka, one in Bikita, one in Chivi, one in Gutu, one in Mashingo, one in Chikomba, one in Uzumba Maramba Pungwe, one in Murewa. Then these balls, when they are being, when someone wants to contribute, he can communicate with us and we direct that you can contribute to this support group. Or else, if we communicate with anyone, he or she who wants to contribute, we can actually make sure that they pay direct to the shop where the balls are. The balls here, they are going for $20, both netball and soccer. But I've seen that if there are some people who want to send balls from any other place, I've seen online that there's the same balls that are costing $20 here. In some areas, they are going for $10. So if there are people who want to send the balls from diaspora, it can still happen through the way they can use for the balls to reach us. But if they want to send money, they can send money even through our treasury, and then we buy the balls in town. The balls in town, they are going for $20. So it will be easier that way, especially with the speed that we want to use, because we really want to get into the rural areas now before intimidation starts.
Yes, thank you for that. So all those who have balls, you can let us know or let our secretary know that you have got a ball that you want to donate. If you pledge your ball through our handle, we will tell the leader that we have got a number of people that are sending balls to you very soon. So now we will give the chance to speak to DMV branch. DMV branch, can you unmute and speak?
Thank you so much. My name is Tafadzwa Matinenga, and I am the chairperson for DMV branch MDC Alliance here in North America province. And thank you for having this space. I just wanted to respond to one of the questions that one of the audience members had as to how best they can participate as a diaspora. First of all, I would like to encourage anyone who is in the diaspora, get in touch with your local community, your local MDCA branch, become a member. Once you become a member, then pay your subscription. Those are one of the things that we are having as a challenge as to where we can get more memberships. So the best way and the first way to get, if you want more information or want to be part of the party, is to become a member of your local branch. And then after becoming a member of your local branch, participate. There are so many opportunities that we have as local branches, but we don't have people to fill those positions. So get in touch and know what those positions are so that we can be able to support fully in all these local initiatives, in particular the rural penetration, the rural projects in Zimbabwe. In DMV, we have been lucky enough in that we are twinned with Kai South. Kai South is currently in Matabeleland province. So we have used this opportunity to get to know what the needs are specifically for Kai South. Kai South has about 60 wards, 60 polling stations that all have polling agents that need to be addressed, and so that we can be fully equipped. That's about 300 people. So we have been working very closely with Leader Bondo. We've been working very closely with the chairman for in Kai South, as well as the leadership in Matabeleland, so that we can be able to address these needs, and in order to be able to, so that we can be able to do what is needed. So there's a lot of things that the diaspora can be able to do, so that they can be able to participate and know what is exactly is going on. I know the diaspora always feel out there, maybe I might not be able to do anything, or maybe I feel overwhelmed with the politics in Zimbabwe. I have so many problems. But if you're not taking part and you're not doing anything, then you're not taking part in the change that is supposed to be happening. The only way Zimbabwe can change, and the only way we can be going home to a better economy, is through our own participation. So it's very important that every person in their diaspora get to know your party, get to know what the issues are within your party. If you're looking at healthcare, if you're looking at better education, get to know what your party stands on those issues, so that when you talk and go speak to your rural family, you know what those issues are. You can better articulate why it's important kuti ZANU-PF even nokuti not hapana chikoro nokuti hapana road yagadzirwa. So get to know those issues at each time, so that we can be better able to articulate those issues. But I also wanted to respond to Leader Bondo panyaya intimidation. I know you spoke briefly and mentioned kuti, we can be able to speak and make a phone call. I think that's a little bit undermining that. Maybe if you can talk more about it, because one of the feedback that we get from our members kuno kuti vanotya kutaura even hama dzake dziri kumusha kana ane vana, nokuti once, like you said, once your name is known out there, vana vako pamwe or hama dzako dzakuintimidatwa neZANU-PF. So what ways we need to look at, what ways we can do to protect not just Vanwari on the ground, even Vanwari kuno diaspora, they are concerned about those issues. So I think we need to be looking closely at those issues, so that we protect our members both in the rural areas and here, so that when you become a member of the MDCA, you are also protected. I think those issues need to be looked at. I'm not saying that you need security, but I'm saying I think we need to closely look at those and not really undermine when people say kuti warukuchka. Thank you.
Okay, before Honourable Bondo responds, can Speaker Gonzo, there's Gonzo Muduri, can you go ahead and make your contribution? Then our co-host, Honourable Chidziva, will respond.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. In interim soldier, Drochanamu Zimbabwe National Army. And opinion yangu is purely based on my experiences in the army. So, ndine zvinhu zvandangotarawo zvishoma. Chekutanga chatakaona kuarmy ndechekuti kune fear handidya kumasoja uku. Tinoudzwa kunzi muri kutrekwa, WhatsApp yako iri kutrekwa, pasina MDC, and there's so much fear. So chanongokumbira ndechekuti hama dziri kudiaspora dai matauro nehama dzenyu masoja, so that we remove this fear iri vanhu vari musecurity sector. Then just to ndoda taura ndechekuti we all know kuti logistics dzema-elections dziri driven by the army or by the security sector, including my CIO. And I was one of those who were deployed in 2018 and 2013 to coordinate these type of things. And what we need to also just let our people know anditika is kuti nekuti masoja ari kushandiswa kuita izvozvo izvi. Try to motivate hama dzedu nevamwe kuti we find innovative ways to communicate, because mukataura nyaya dzekuti WhatsApp inozotaura nasisi vangu vari kuAmerica kuti people are scared, and it's because the moment that you make a phone call hama yako kuti shamari ita so kana kuti vhotera nhingi kana kuti tichika ari kutya, people are scared. So asi mukavaudza kuti shamari togona kutaura kana pa Skype kana kuti togona kutaura pa another platform that ZANU-PF cannot track you, then it becomes an easy conversation to do. And then chechitatu chandakaonawo through my experience tatumwa nemusangano is kuti pama election agents amunotumira vanhu MDC, especially kuma rural areas, a lot of them, yes, there is one party fear, but there's also another party where you send the wrong people and people can easily be bribed. Indakaona vanhu vachipiwa mari chacho kuti chinja pachifomu ichi saina kuti MDC yadyo, because apiwa $400 because atengera mutsanga, because apiwa maskad, you see, atengera soup. So all those things we need to make sure kuti when you deploy my election agents, my advice kwamuri is kuti tumira kumareserva, kutumira pana mutaundi mawaendesa kumareserva, make sure kuti you put them avatemekeki wana gets ziba wana obey I mean vatumire kumareserva, and then they become agencies party yenyu kumareserva where you are 100% convinced kuti someone like Obey cannot be bribed. Hakwanisi kutengwa $400 kana kuti nepint. Then church 4 chokupedzisira ndechekuti I know when ndataura nezvema t-shirts mabhondo zvebhora zvechichi, because of fear that might be a very difficult I think to do. Kone kwakapfeka t-shirt MDC kupareserva, people are scared, so rather focus on kupinda muhana dzevanhu, because people are suffering and people know what they want, they know kuti vada MDC, but fear iyoyo ndeyekuti rather kuti munomudza kuti chi usapfeka dzako t-shirt MDC, mari yacho iyo tipe titengere agent chikafu achiita zvema elections, but kana wakunovhota ziva pekuvhotera. So that is my contribution, and ndachaza zita rekuti andoshandisa iroro nekuti handisida kuzivikanwa kuti ndonzi zita rangu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Speaker Gonzo, for your experiences and for sharing them. I will give the platform to SG to contribute since our guest has dropped off. SG, can you unmute and respond to the speakers, the previous two speakers?
Okay. No, thank you very much. I think, look, there is intimidation everywhere, but it's a trick that is used by ZANU-PF to make sure that more people are scared from participating, because ZANU-PF likes the word fear. They want you to be afraid, because when you are afraid, you don't go. You don't go and register. When you are afraid, you don't go and campaign. When you are afraid, you don't go and vote for the MDC. What we need to do is, because look, we will never be able to remove ZANU-PF if we are afraid. When I went to Chiweshe, I had the people that were calling me to say, what we want to do is, because previously as national leaders, we go to rural areas to address rallies and leave. But with this rural strategy, what I want to do is I want to go to Chiweshe. I want to go and spend 3 days there. After addressing my meetings, I want to go and sleep at one of our members' homestead. Makuseni tomuka, I know you saw the picture and but what we are trying to do is to make sure that if we have got people that are staying in Chiweshe, that we want to mobilize and we expect them to vote for us. As leaders, we must be able to be confident enough to go there and be with them. You see, if you are afraid, what about those people that are staying there? So the biggest thing that we must do is to defeat fear before we defeat ZANU-PF in 2023. And I want us to defeat fear now. You see, we know it. You can be arrested. I was in Chikurubi. Many people have been in Chikurubi. But you go there, Uchibuda. Before you go there, Uchikurubi, unenga uchiroaneana. But you realize it's just fear, the regime that is oppressing us, so that you leave the struggle altogether. So as of now, we must not talk about fear. What we need the presence. The various traditional leaders that we have spoken to on our trips, they have also said that we need to increase presence. If our presence is increased, the traditional leaders will ensure that everyone is afforded an opportunity to participate in the politics of their choice. So Chemai, let's go there. If there's intimidation, let it be highlighted. It's not like the old days. WhatsApp can expose, Facebook can expose, Twitter can expose. But for now, let's go and campaign, form support groups. If we have got a strong support groups in a particular polling station, where do they go? So they've got a visible leadership that is on the ground, which they go to. We used to have problems of people that were being denied food aid. They used to call me at the harvest house to say, until I said, look, I don't want to receive any calls. Send them my youth, 2-3 youth, where the food distribution is going on. Everyone is going home with the bag, as long as you know. And it has worked. You challenge them because they are doing things illegal. You challenge them, they give in. Food is distributed to everyone. So that's what we need to do. Our fate to fear, then we might as well just stop whatever we are doing. Because ZANU-PF just needs to instill more fear. Then you don't turn up to vote and so forth. So that's my comment on that. That look, let's be visible. Let's encourage our people. Let's have a lot of support groups. Let's have a lot of youth on the ground. I don't agree with the idea. The last speaker. Yekuti sendai ostalo kuti monitor No, we have got people that are there. Strong people that know the area. They know each other. It's those people that must be encouraged. What we have said, what we have discovered is that chishefu changa chakunyanya even among our ranks. And people don't want to monitor elections. They don't want to be polling agents. They want to send youngsters who can easily be bribed. People who are looking for monetary incentives. Those people can't be agents. So what we have said in the MDC is that going forward, from the Secretary General going downwards, senior leaders must have a polling station that they man. And because in the because I know what is at stake. We how many provincial leaders do we have? They run into thousands, but everyone wants to watch the results. No, that's wrong. Everyone, every senior leader, every senior person, everyone who wants the struggle, my lawyers, accountants, and all those things. Volunteer, mopinda, mono register. It reduces the fear when people are seeing you, and it encourages the voters. Imagine if I go to Mondoro and I'm in a polling station. Do you think it will not happen because I'm there and I can easily go and challenge and make sure that that thing is not is stopped immediately. So those are the tactics that we want. That's why we want this election to be about the community. We want community involvement because the community has got more ears and the community has got more eyes than the MDC as a political entity. So we are then able to monitor, and able to mobilize and able to encourage and strengthen vanhu vedu paground so that they can reach. Hatidi vanhu vanoti vakangorohwa mochema mopinda paFacebook tarohwa kunoku. No, tasai zvakaita kuZambia. The person who was crying was Lungu. And this, I'm not encouraging anything, but what I'm encouraging you not to cry to me as your Secretary General or to the party, or to cry on Facebook. If someone is doing something illegal, correct it there where you are. That is how we are going to win 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG. We will give to Leader Pondo to respond, and after Leader Pondo, we go to Freeman. After Freeman, we go to Jason, and after Jason, we go to Chief Strother in that order.
Thank you so much. Actually, I lost some of those questions, but I think I just have to speak around this issue of intimidation again. In any way, so many people, if it is about the issue of violence and intimidation, they actually fear those people. They are known actually, especially the people that they don't even know, because they don't know how they will react to them. But like what I said, I was not saying that hakuna fear kumamisha kana kuti akutorina kuvhundutsirwa kuriko, but if tikakwanisa kubuilda numbers through influencing sezvatiri kuti vari kudiaspora nevamwe vari kuma urban areas, if they are able to influence kuti tikwanise kurecruita vanhu vakwanise kuona change muma areas mavo, actually tichifonera vanonetsa vacho ivavo vanorepa vanhu, those that intimidate people, that those vanoita violence vacho ivavo tichitaura navo, because vazhinji vacho those people vanoita violence vari kumamusha, there are some people that we have been with mukukura kwedu, so ukatotaura naye pumwe pacho anobva atonzwisa kuti handanzwisa ndakunyara. So inongori imwe measure, but zvisingarevi kuti hatiti mamwe mameasure atinoita kuti tikwanise kuona kuti communities edu are protected. But ndinofungidzira kuti this measure iyoyi ndo iri yatingataure pano kuti ngaticommunicate nevanhu vari kumamisha, ngativarecruitei, tikwanise kuita numbers akawanda. Actually, patiri kuti the rural strategy is a game changer. Vatinenge tichitotaura kuti kingpin edu panapa idiaspora, because everyone in diaspora is an influential person in his or her household, in his family, in his community. So you are the kingpin, you are influencer. So tichero muri imi moda kuti kuite violence inotoitwa ichitokurudzirwa nevanhu vari kudiaspora kana vakada, because ndimi ma-influencer, ndimi ma-influential people in those communities. Kana muchida kuti imire inomira violence, zvakanaka chaizvo inotomira. So inini try zvatiri kutaura, communicate, let's create this support group, let's communicate with our people, be in the WhatsApp groups yekuzumba, be in the WhatsApp group yekwachivi, be in the WhatsApp group yekuzaka, which is your home area.
Thank you, Honourable. Let's go to Freeman.
Hey, thank you guys for the opportunity. So I'm going to speak a bit about the strengths that we have in the diaspora, because I believe that this struggle requires that we all, take advantage of the strengths that we have. The people in the diaspora have got the things that they can do that cannot probably be done by people that are on the ground, and the things that the people on the ground can do quite easily that we cannot do here in the diaspora. I want to reiterate the point that the strengths that we have in the diaspora is finance and information. And like I said the other week, there are four things that determine power, structural power. That is security, mode of production, finance, and information. ZANU-PF controls security. ZANU-PF controls mode of production. Now, in the diaspora, we have access to finance and we have access to information. ZANU-PF can control information and finance within the country, but they cannot control finance and information from outside the country. So that's why I feel that as the diaspora, we have to take advantage of this opportunity that we have. I'll give specific practical examples of things that have happened that I believe can then be scaled and be implemented in different areas in the diaspora. Here in USA, if I know there are a number of MDC people on this call, if they remember well, we did our Congress about 2 or 3 years ago. United States was the only province that managed to fund all its activities. Fly 3 people, 1 from UK and 2, I actually think 3 from Zimbabwe. And they came over here. They found the voters' roll of the members here electronically. Everything was there electronically because we had access to technology, and people voted in peace. And they had more than, I don't know, 25,000 or so US dollars that they had raised from their own members, which they could account for transparently and with greater accountability, right? So these are things that if they are implemented from United States to UK, to Australia, to South Africa, imagine if United States that had about 400 people, I think 400 or 500 members at the time, could raise 25,000. What about 10,000 people in UK or Australia or South Africa? There is a lot of goodwill that is out there. And I know a lot of you, you follow what we do with Citizens Initiative. The number of people that have donated to Citizens Initiative is not more than 6,000. But we have raised more than 300,000 and we've built schools and so forth in Zimbabwe. Now, how much can MDC raise outside in the diaspora? A lot. I believe we can raise more than 2 million if we are accountable, transparent, and we also use technology to follow up, to know our members outside here. So in terms of infrastructure, we can always, I can't talk a lot about other things that are related to infrastructure because I do think they are kind of above my pay grade. But I think there is infrastructure that is being built to sustain those things. I can't comment on that, but I believe it will be there very soon. And I believe we can raise more. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is information. We can't go, MDC will never be given a space on ZBC. They will not be given a space on the Herald. But we have access to WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Now, in the diaspora, we have people with different skill sets. We have people that have got multimedia skills, OTT programmers, data scientists. If you are a member of MDC, or if you are in the diaspora and you think that you can be, you have this kind of skills, then apply yourself. Find where you can plug yourself and start, using your skills to help in the struggle back home. Like I've seen, for example, I work in the OTT space, that is TV space. We make very short, small videos that are impactful that we were using here in the United States for the elections. And we were penetrating a lot of areas in the United States. I'm talking about the United States election. So imagine if we can also use the same skills to implement this in Zimbabwe, making these small videos that are 2 megabytes that can be transmitted by WhatsApp, but they are effective and they have, all the policies, all the things that we want to impact people on the ground. So I want to encourage people in the diaspora to also use their skills and to plug in. If you see short places that we have shortfalls, be the one to point it and also say, I can do 1, 2, 3 things, not just to be that person who points the weaknesses, but you don't want to play a part. Then finally, the other point that I wanted to say is that the elections that we are going to have are going to be determined by data and analytics. We need to know our members in Zimbabwe by their demographic data and demographic graphs. Who do they talk to? Who is their friend? Where are they? how much money do they make? So that what is their phone number? So that we can start now communicating directly with them. We can start talking to the friends that are next to them and say, you went to register to vote, but from our analysis of the voters roll, we are seeing that James and John, who live 2 meters away from your home, did not register to vote. Can you go there and talk to them? Or these are things that I have seen happening even here in the United States, where Obama would send messages like, we saw you went to vote, but your neighbor did not go to vote. It's because you'll be using things like exit polls and so on. So the use of technology should also be, embraced as we go into 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Freeman, for your contribution. We go straight to Barbara. Leader Barbara, can you go ahead? Okay, it seems like she can't hear us.
Hello.
Can we go to?
Hello.
Okay, go ahead, Leader Barbara.
Yes, thank you so much for wonderful contributions from various speakers. Yes, I also want to chip in. We are talking about diaspora support for rural penetration, and I think my contribution would be like we as the people in the diaspora, as individuals, have to see that we are doing something. Like the SG was saying, like Comrade Pondo was saying, I just wanted to say with other diasporans, my experience, what I have done so far, because we've been in this struggle for a long time. And as you can see, most people are getting tired. But what I know is that when you start getting tired, it means we are near there. Anzi kana wakutanga kunene, tinoreva kuti takundosvika. So I come from Makoni South in Rukape. I was, looking for my constituency. I couldn't find it. I was asking people in the groups until I found my constituency. My ward is 27. And what I've done, I've pledged. My ward has got 6 polling stations, and I've pledged to sponsor all the polling agents in that ward. I will sponsor them during election time. So if we all do likewise, we will not miss it. My constituency is ZANU-PF constituency, but at one given point, it was ours. It was taken by ZANU, and I know if we all put effort in this initiative, we will regain the constituencies that were taken from us by ZANU-PF. So it's possible. Before I do my part collectively, I have to see to it that I have done something as an individual. It's not difficult. We have to belong to our constituencies. But I grew up in Bulawayo. I'm also going to help in Bulawayo because my heart is in Bulawayo. I was born and bred in Bulawayo, but still I have a home. So we have a lot of work. It's better. I invest in these elections for a better tomorrow. We don't want to be in this diaspora. We want to go home like the other speaker just alluded to. We want to go home. We don't want it to be here. And the only way we can go home is through removing this ZANU-PF government. And on voter registration again, I have a daughter who just turned 19 years, meaning she's a first-time voter. So what I did, I asked her to gather all her friends because I know she has got a lot of friends that also turned 19 or 18. I gave her a task to say, can you write down all your friends, their IDs, their addresses. I want the list, and when you've gathered your friends, I'll give you money for transport. In that, this is in Bulawayo. I said I'll give you money for transport, and tell you what the registration center in Bulawayo it's in Famona. And for people in the western areas to go and register, they commute twice. So you see, this is another problem that we need to worry Zek about. I think they've done this deliberately because the places, the voting centers are just too far from the people. So it's another challenge. So I've promised them I'll give them transport money. I'll also buy lunch for them. After voting, they will get into town and have their chicken in. And she was so happy. So she's in the process of gathering this data. And I'll show you, I'll come back and I'll post the results of what I've done whilst I'm here. And yet you find someone who is on the ground, they've never even registered, not a single person. And then at the end of the day, you want to blame Chamisa, you want to blame Wende, you want to blame Bondo to say, what is MDC doing? This is no longer an MDC issue. It's an issue for every Zimbabwe. So we have a task, got a very big task before us that we have to deal with. I think that's what I wanted to share with the message. Thank you so much for according me this opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much, Leader Barbara, for that inspiration. I think others we can follow suit. We can follow what she did. We'll go to Jason. Then after that, Tawanda. I don't see Chief Soshe anymore. So Jason, then Tawanda.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to say a word on this platform. The first thing is I'd like to thank and appreciate the Secretary General and the leadership of the party for actually opening up direct support to our branches, which is our polling stations. This has worked for us before. 2007 and 2008, I was then organizing secretary for the UK and Ireland, and we had 50 branches. Those 50 branches, we twinned them with rural constituencies, and to manage to give them fuel, mobile phones, and all the other support that they needed, and it really worked. And I'm sure with this again, it can still work. Once we each, like what Leader Barbara has done is exactly what I've been calling for, that we should actually adopt either just your branch, which is your polling station, or your district, which is your CCC. Support them in order that they can actually deliver. And for example, right now, okay, the issue that we have is registration in rural areas. And I can tell you from experience, from what I know, what is happening on the ground in Boera West constituency, we've got people that need to travel 40 to 50 miles to get to Murambinda where there is a registration center. So yes, as much as we can call up and say people register, without supporting them, giving them transport to go to those registration centers, we will never succeed. So we really need to start there to make sure that once we adopt, whether it's your village alone or the polling station as it is, then please just say to them, okay, fine, I'll be able to get around everyone else that needs to, that is a new voter, so that then I can actually give you transport to go and register. Then that way it will really work. It is also good that, like, I can't remember who actually mentioned it, that in terms of fear, if you work it from the village, from your village, your own village, and then together with your polling station, people know you, and people will listen, and people will say, well, we are going to do this, and they'll work with you. So the support groups, I think it's a very, very brilliant idea, and that can take us very far. Because from there, after you've registered your people, we now need to ensure that the agents at your polling station are then trained. Once they are trained, then empower them as we go towards the election. In other words, making sure that they've got airtime, food, a mobile phone that is a smartphone. And once you do that, you will see that things will be will get in order. And then the last thing that you need to also to do is at the polling station is just to make sure that you on the polling day you support people at that polling station, all the youth, all those able-bodied, men and women that to remain at the polling station, just the required distance. I think it's about 100 meters or so. Then they remain there so that you give support to the person that will be counting in the polling station, and then also make sure that all the agents are actually paid. Because if we don't pay our agents, this is where then ZANU-PF will come in, and then they'll buy those polling agents, the person that remains in the polling station. And remember, this person that remains in the polling station will be only one, there will be one from each political party. So this is where the trick is. If you have got the wrong person inside the polling station, then they can easily be bought, and then figures will be changed whilst they're actually watching. And also this question, someone spoke about the food and things like that. If we don't support them with food, definitely they are likely to be used by ZANU-PF. And then the other thing that I'm encouraging is, for example, what I've done in Boera West is to have a branch new registration challenge. So that I've said end of November, the top 10 branches that register new voters, they get prizes. So then there becomes competition. But again, for that competition to happen, it means you still again need to support them to go for registration. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Leader Jason. We'll go to Leader Tawanda, then we ask for a response from the SG or our guest, Honourable Chidziva. Tawanda, can you go ahead? Speaker Tawanda, you can unmute yourself and speak. Okay, it seems like his mic is off. Can we have MDC Alliance Rundu? Can you unmute and speak? We understand that you had a twinning with Uzumba Maramba Fungwe. Maybe you can talk about that as well.
Yes, good evening, speakers, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, everyone on the space. First and foremost, we want to thank everyone who has been on the space, because as you know, Zimbabwe, but I want everyone who's coming in. I see a lot of people, even our heroines, Vanamarova are here, we've got ladies who are here, Vana Alice Tsungu, all those other people, Vanafara in the UK, everything, and everyone who's here. So first and foremost, my name is Simbarashan Doda, the MDC Rundu, Secretary General. One thing I would like to say, and I would like to thank, is that we're the SG, as you were mentioning, SG, when they visited us in Namibia just a week ago, we had a quite eye-opening discussion on a number of things. So quite a number of things are being mentioned by a number of speakers, Panapa, and I agree with them. As MDC Alliance, we have to take over Zimbabwe, Taneta and ZANU-PF. But the only physical and logical way of doing it is Munuwese has to be involved. As SG Wende has mentioned, and other speakers like Vondo have mentioned, even they've been moving around Kuma rural communities, which is good. But Mvanu Washomanana, Takada mention SG Wende, Vondo, Takada mention our organizing secretary, and then our VP. There are quite a few. Saka, they definitely need help. As he had come here, we had discussed many issues, and among them was diaspora. My facts, Anga mentioned what before was, could at least every member, I think we can all do that one. Could every member at least have 12 members of your family that you can follow up? Register vote, even my new voters, I was happy Barbara also mentioned it. Could every new voters, 19, 17, 18, 19, etc., they should all be registered. Could it as one? Because we find with most of our actions, sorry to say, but in social media, but on the ground, Saka isusu as diaspora, we have a big role to play. Because tinobuda pa social media, tiri kukomenta, comments akanaka. Of course, criticism yakanaka, be it constructive, etc. It's all good. But at the same time, tinofana kuziva kuti these leaders on the ground is no longer about the politicians, as SG when they say it. Vanhu vari kumamisha, they do not listen to politicians as much as they listen to family members. Saka inini simba pane parundu panapa, ndakataura nambuya vangu nasekuru vangu natete vangu, they listen to me more than they would probably listen to Vondo, because Vondo vamuzive, vanomuona sa politician. But inini vanongondoona usasimba. Iwewe sanetsai unoonekwa sanetsai, iwe saningi unoonekwa saningi, that type of thing. So we would want to encourage that one. Kuti iyoyo tisataenda kure, diaspora yese, let's take it seriously. Taita 12 my family members, 12 atori mashoma actually. Tinogona kuita more depending. But 12 yakanaka is a starting point. Could by the end of the year, ndinenge ndane 12 my members angu anenge nda register. Then as Namibia we had pledged, it's the good thing about Namibia, it's close to Zimbabwe. Saka we had pledged to twin with Uzumba. I think we had agreed kuti Uzumba has been a problem. Kuti inongonzi zanu yazvoita mavhotsi akawanda Uzumba, and then we joke about it, but it's not funny anymore because vekuzumba vacho vari kutikanganisa. That is if kutombori nemavhoters akawanda kudaro. But ivo manje kuti tiwanewo input, we should not neglect them. Uzumba maramba pfungwe, they are Zimbabweans, vanga vari kuintimidatwa, vari kushandisirwa probably food incentives kana kunyimwa chikafu or intimidate and all those things. But we realize kuti no, isusu as Zimbabweans, fellow Zimbabweans in the diaspora, takatwina neUzumba, it would actually make sense, as Leader Vondo was mentioning, kuti vanoda kuona support from people outside. So our plan was, if they are like Namibia, it couldn't quite a number of Zimbabweans. I think the book show probably 9,000 officially, but as you know, Zimbabwe, most of my Zimbabweans are they are unregistered and documented. So the number is definitely way more than 9,000. Most of them are earning an honest living, and we appreciate that. So for every member, if we get at least 1,000 of our members, because we've got a number of branches in Namibia, although we all still want to open more branches, it makes sense. As someone mentioned, if you want to be part of the change, you have to insert yourself into a branch. If you are not in a branch, apana pauchaziva activities are kuitika apana. So if you are in Namibia, feel free. Kana vanenge vari in and around Namibia, tibate tripa rundu atinetsa kubata. Even I think my Twitter account is there, my inbox is open. Then we can communicate. The reason is takakwanza kuwanda. If we are over 1,000, then we're contributing at least 50 rand a month. 50 rand a month in US dollar terms, it's only about $3 a month. Sakatakati $3 a month for the next 18 months, we're able to raise an amount of almost R1 million. That R1 million will be used specifically for Uzumba. Could we support Uzumba Maramba Pfungwe so that Uzumba knows they're all Zimbabweans and we need their votes? Because at the moment, another vote, everyone matters. And as mentioned before, my chiefs, etc. vaneta. But all they need is support. Yedu tenji famba famba. Saka implore. Yes. Could the program?
Thank you for that. Let's try to keep all our comments tight so that we can have more speakers, because there are a number of requests that are there. SG, can you respond to the speakers? And also Leader Vondo, can you also respond? So SG.
Okay, no, thank you very much. I would want, I think first and foremost, to commend what Leader Barbara is saying, what was saying rather, initiative through her daughter. These are the kinds of things that will bring results. We need to take part, away from tweeting, away from criticizing, away from all sorts of things. We need to roll our sleeves, go on the ground, and register people. There's no substitute for that, And so I want to commend it. And this thing must be done scientifically. The social media is very important. Very important. Let's not underestimate it, but it's not enough. We need the offline and online activities, but we must operate mostly offline and do the actual work. As I've said in the past, when I spoke when the program started, this thing is not about the MDC. This thing is about Zimbabwe. We all need to join hands and contribute. I used to be angry when people used to attack me. I was new on the job, but I realized later on that most of the people that attack me, if you read carefully to what they are saying, they love their party, but they are frustrated. They want us to do more, and they think that we are not doing more. People that attack, apart from the usual ZANU-PF people, but most of our MDC people, they mean well. And you can see we have started implementing some of the suggestions that are coming from our topmost critics. Many people will not even accept that the person that I hang out most is Dr. Ruhanya. He's my friend, but he is very rapid in his attack on me because he wants me to be a better SDG. So what I urge people, don't leave us alone. We don't know everything. We want the same strategies. And this Twitter discussion today has been very enriching. We just must roll our sleeves and do the donkey work. Let's not underestimate this thing. In Zambia, people work. Mwenda kumaruzeva mchishanda mchita sei, but as long as makamirira signal hatisati tasvika chaipo chaipo kana muchiri makamirira kuti the president Chamisa achakupai signal. Let's leave President Chamisa. Now what we want from President Chamisa is for him to register his own 12 people. That is his contribution. And also encourage us achitipa my messages a hope. But it's the responsibility of every citizen. So ultimately, after all has been said and done, the support is appreciated. I know people are frustrated that our system has not been working, and we are improving it. In the next couple of days, all people that have donated to us, you will start receiving messages from us. We have written letters to you that are coming, thanking you, encouraging you to donate. Imagine if we can just get people like what the people in Namibia have done, to say, on my salary, because I don't want the SG to be calling me every day, on my salary, I go to my bank and give $5 a stop order, which goes off every month. It goes to the treasurer. In terms of accountability, we are the only political party in Zimbabwe that has audited their accounts. We understand, money is a security situation, because if people know that you are operating on a budget of $1 million per month, and it empowers your enemy. But we weighed this thing to say, look, we need to be accountable. So whatever the risk and cost, let's publicly audit our accounts. And we did that. And we are going to be doing that. So don't be afraid that your money is going to be spent. ZANU-PF wants to every time to tell you that your money is going to be stolen. But look at ZANU-PF. They had $400 million that they used in 2018. Even if you go to Shake building, per basement power, they still have containers of t-shirts that are still not used, fresh t-shirts that they were supposed to use in 2018. I'm sure you've seen them wherever Mnangagwa is going, new t-shirts being distributed. So they had everything. So you need the money to do a lot of things. All these things that we are discussing tonight, at the end of the day, please, we want to appeal to our people in diaspora. Help us. Help us with resources. Help us, more importantly, with the ideas. You'll be shocked that from all the things, there are very few people that actually come to my inbox to say, SG, and you can ask anyone that has interacted with me in my Twitter inbox or Facebook inbox. I've taken time to respond and engage them. And most of the ideas that we are implementing now, like even you could adopt a polling station, it's not our idea. It's an idea that came from you, because we don't know everything. Then we are implementing it because we assessed it, consulted with it, and saw merit in that. So I want to urge you, knock on the door of Honourable Chidziva on myself, give us ideas, help us to implement, adopt a polling station in practical ways. Because the biggest challenge that we do, tikabva pana zvatopera. But ukaona wabva paTwitter space pana, and you have not taken time in the next week to call your people in rural areas and to do what leader Barbara is doing, actually getting people. Do you know how many people have maids that are not even registered? You've not even bothered to ask your maid, have you registered? Your son is 17 years old, turned 18 years. You have not even bothered to say, hey, when do we I'm just an individual. We can't afford to lose this opportunity. Let's be practical, guys. Let's be scientific in our operation. We have actually registered people to vote. So thank you very much. I will give to my leader, comrade leader Bondo, who is the head of this department, to speak more. Thank you very much.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Leader Vondokon.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, for me, I just think that there is a need for a deliberate strategy by our diaspora people to turn all their relatives into votes. We have 4 to 5 million people in the diaspora, and if I'm to be sure, at least half of them supports us. And if each and everyone, one of them convinces 5 of their relatives to register to vote and to vote for change, we will double, if not triple, our votes in 2023. While listening, we are arguing that my department is a game changer for the party. I put it to you, the diaspora, that like what I've said earlier on, that you are the kingmakers. Let's continue to cross-pollinate ideas and to work closely with each other. We are the change that we seek, and the change starts with us, and it starts now. Let's walk side by side all the way to the victory of our nation, our motherland, Zimbabwe.
I think the host as well. I want to first thank Leader Barbara and Leader Mateo, because they are going to adopt their polling stations. So my question is, are we going to adopt a polling station as a member, or like what you are saying, you adopt a polling station as a branch? Because as a member, it has got influence, because you know the people there, and the people, they know you. so you feel motivated to do that. But as a branch, you're just doing as a group, and I don't know, maybe leader can clarify on that one. And also, there's a gentleman who spoke about the deployment of election agents, the caliber. I totally agree with him. We have I'll argue that we have to put people from the party members, because we know party members, they cannot be bought easily. So that's my contribution on that. And then those who are in the UK, we are already doing most of these things, like in most branches, we have already set up bank accounts. Like I can tell you in our branch today, most of our members, they've already set my direct debits. So we are saying, okay, like we followed the projection or the forecast done by MDC Alliance Europe that at least by October next year, every member should have contributed £200. So we're already working on that one. So then, Leader Bondo, on that one, I think it's doable, the flyers and the footballs. But I think also we need time. For how long are we going to be doing this, this football and flyers? We need time limit. I think basically that's it, especially on leader on the issue of my polling agents. Should we adopt as a member, or as a branch? Thank you.
Thank you, brother Patrick. On the issue of adoption of polling agents or polling stations, it's a two-pronged process, because we have individuals who can adopt even the whole constituents. Actually, I have 3 or 4 guys who have already adopted some constituencies. And we have already started work there, buying tractors, motor cars, because they can afford. But on a polling station, we realize that a polling station is just a small area where even a member can, because you just say, I'm adopting this polling station, and there will be 4 or 3 polling agents. When the election time comes, I will make sure that they get they get the food they want, and maybe the allowance they want. We start budgeting now. Then you go to that same polling station. You look at the figures. You say last time ZANU-PF got 400, MDC got 350. So what do we want here for us to win this in the next election? We need to register about 300 or 200 people. You make sure that people go out and register in that polling station. That is the case of adopting a polling station. You make sure that the people have registered, and you have some people that are at that polling station that you are working with, even on volunteerism or the structure itself, until the voting day. So that is how I understand it. And so this is like there's this twinning that we have in some diaspora countries. They want to twin, like they say our branch is twinned with these constituents, and they make sure that their members adopt my polling station within that constituents. Patrick anenge ari paningi pamarara pungwe primary, Tendai anenge ari uku, but vari mubranch renyu rimwe chete, kuitira kuti mutange kuweka zviri effective zvinobuda. Actually vazhinji vanenge ndopai vanonzi mbere vazhinji hadzina marishi. Mukaita muri group munenge muchitokonerana. So if you have your own polling polling station or station with it, I want to win this one. You make sure that you win and you do everything that you want. Newton have a project here. Mkoma Tawanda, you want to say something?
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Yost. I just also want to take an opportunity to appreciate this initiative. I think Panya struggle, but I think it had a very good dimension. You could have got the diaspora and Zwangachibatsira down here. I'm a counselor here in Blawayo. Tuna challenges at now. As tikangechishanda nediaspora ndinoona tichikwanisa kufamba zvinhu zvakakurisisa like now coincidentally ndinzwa mutauro nyemabhora ndakaronga itournament for soccer kumusha kwangu kwachiromadzuku kune wadhoni ndekwezano ikokoko but kumusha kwandakakurira kumadzisekuru angu kune chii saka ndikuona vachiaccepta sterek pandakasvika ndakaisira bhoho vakanakidza nemvura saka pandazonda kuita tournament yebhora kwavari vari kuti zviri bhoho. I think it's a strategy kutoshanda but panyaya yekuadopta mapolling stations ndachifungidzira kuti madiasporans aita crowdfunding yavo iri one yekuti every polling agent muzimbabwe ngaawane mari yakafanana because ndogona kutsvagira vanhu vangu voita right panext door pangu paconstituency voshaya zvachese, which is what happened in 2018. So my plea is through leadership. I think let's have a uniform way of dealing with my polling agents edu vasazosara vachichema vamwe vakanyimwa vamwe vapiwa hazvizobudi zvakanaka. That's my contribution. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, our viewers and listeners, we thank you. I'm very sorry it took a very long time, but fruitful discussions. And don't worry, MDC Alliance Europe is going to host more of these kind of discussions. We want them to send a good message to our people to register to vote. Ndo nyaya ingoripo chete, register to vote and muzozivazve kapekuvhotera kuti nyika ichinje. Ndo vanhu vese vari diaspora vari kuchema kuti toda kudzoka kumba. It is our duty to contribute. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, make a change, and that change can only happen only if you come and help. Remember, nothing for us without us. Contribute and help encourage people at home to register to vote. And you people at home, please just go and register to vote. Tanga takatandara pano nini wenyu Simobi tiri live pazim aine pa Change Radio pa Facebook ne pa YouTube. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers.